Stone Shield Outpost was born as a dwarven outpost. It grew to become sizable mining interests. Its operation was vast, but then more recently it's reverted back to being something of a much smaller concern. The forges have run cold in all but a few of the forge areas, and there's also the added baggage of a large estate that's far too big for the 120 or so dwarves and one human, and now a couple of elves, a kobold, and an Irganasi. And so, yeah, the fall of Stone Shield wasn't for any particular reason. Trade was part of it. There's the ancient city, Eldskara Narva, which is at the bottom. It roughly translates to Eldskara's unpleasant foot. That's what they've called it now. The various peaks around Eldskara held great riches, and some of them still do, but without the man, dwarf, elf, gnomish potential to release that, then it just isn't happening. It was built on one of the few mountain passes, and this is why you're here, of course. You're here because this is the way down into the Sea of Dust, probably the least observed corner of the Sea of Dust, the one that will get you in secretly, at least. That's your hope. You've been challenged, you've been set the mission of breaking through the veil of dust that obscures vision from, well, you're not quite sure who. For some reason, you have to actually get in there on the ground to get into and through this into the Sea of Dust to find out if the rumours are right. Are Neryl's forces amassing, creating huge invasion potential to get into and overrun Keoland, your home? Very credible, but so far kept within dreams, portents, views of the future, visions gifted to those who are in connection with their deities. But yeah, the history of Mountain Foot City is not really mentioned. By many. The demise of that town definitely happened before the dwarves that are all present at Stone Shield. Although it still gets talked about quietly. Maybe there's a little bit of superstition among the dwarves about this town, that Eldskara's unpleasant foot. Just maybe they don't want the same fate to fall their small and pleasant little outpost. It's freezing cold. It's absolutely bitter and biting cold. Like, you're outside, and if you were outside for more than 20 minutes without proper clothing and without the warmth of magic to keep you, you'd suffer. You'd soon just disappear into yourself and become a gibbering wreck in the snow ground, forgotten, quickly covered over. It's bitingly cold. And this apparently is a relatively new occurrence in Stone Shield, in the past 5-6 years, maybe. Trade still passes through occasionally from the Sea of Dust, occasionally, but nothing's been seen in over a year, and even before that it was only ever a minor trickle. And so it is that you find yourself in what accounts for a tavern. And in this tavern, just waiting for it to update. Sometime now, please, internet. That would be nice. No, it's denying them. Anyway. In this tavern, let's try this. Okay, I've gone and broken some things. Do you guys see a tavern? Are you looking at something that looks more like a tavern on Roll20?
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Right, I'll just try and get that out for chat as well. Let's just try and fix that. There we go. Excellent. Now chat is also in the tavern with us. Away far from the wind, in the warmth, with the fires blazing, the lanterns on, and enough people around eating and drinking to keep you happy. You've had a meal with everybody in the main hall, and you've now retired for the evening to the tavern. And so it is, the discussions and stories, music that's playing, much like you would expect in such a place of dwarven. Very excitable and very over-the-top tales being wrought about the very exciting and dangerous sounding adventures that those that live within Stone Shield have encountered in the past few years. And you're eating and talking to yourselves as well. You're uninterrupted. Occasionally, Cassett, you feel like maybe there's some eyes looking at the back of your head, but you let it go. The drink is pleasant, and the food certainly edible. And there we have it. The start of another adventure for you, the party of the Shadow Wings. What are you going to do?
Just find the dragon and say hello. Everything would go fine, honest. What?
No. How many times do we have to go over this, Karsat? Not all dragons are the way you think they are.
But some are. Never knows what you try.
Okay. So, you go find the blue dragon and see if it wants to talk.
Okay.
And we'll just stay in the warm. And if it wants to talk, you come back. And if it didn't want to talk, you don't come back. And we know that it's not friendly.
Sounds like it, bro.
Perhaps we should carry forth with our mission?
Probably a better option.
True.
We do not have very much time.
You can always visit the dragon on the way back and kill it then.
No. No killing. No need to kill it.
Well, if it's not nice and it tries to kill us, we're not going to get away from it. We'll have to kill it then.
Aren't there two of them?
More friends.
Tordred Burrowfound, the head brewer, brings another flagon into your table, and she puts it down and says, "Hi, so the stories say, two fighting around the peak of Elskara and beyond. Terrible business, it seems. Imagine that. An ancient beast fighting for its own survival. Ha, it'd be nice if we were the ones to put an axe into it, eh? Anyway, drink up." And she walks off again.
We really should see about trying to import some of this.
Good drink, yes.
Probably another one worth putting on the list of things to do on our way back.
So how are we going
Feels
forward?
Actually take out a notepad and paper and write that down.
Tordred walks past you again. "Oh, you like that, do you? Well, I've been experimenting with a new recipe for dark ale. It's made mostly with roasted grains and a hint of honey. I've been working on a
impressive.
batch of whiskey as well, using some local grains such as they are on the hillside. If you're interested in trying that, it's got a creative, unique and flavourful spirit.
Big five.
We do what we can. And she goes off and brings back a bottle, puts it on the table. Aye, trade is it, you say? Make sure you get used to it. And she laughs as she walks off again to see the next table.
And immediately grabs the bottle and starts drinking from it.
Yeah, it's bloody strong. Yeah, it warms your stomach and it makes you smile when it does so. This is nice, you think to yourself. And as you slobber on the bottle, I don't know if anybody else looks and wants any of it, but the door opens and a blast of cold air comes in. And through the door, you see the bearded and rather snowy looking Gardain Moragak, the outpost captain. He stomps his feet on the ground, shakes his shoulders, pulls off part of the warm skins that he's wearing, slams them down over by the fire, and he nods at you as he walks over. And says, "Good fighting. Well done. Well done. I hope you're going to stay for a bit longer. We could use you here."
Are occurrences like that daily? You said they're semi-frequent.
Not quite daily, but enough. Often enough that everyone round here has to lend a hand. And he looks over and he says, "Aye, well, it's been a good day, and the night is soon upon us. I'm going to get a quick drink, and then I'm going to turn myself in and prepare myself for another exciting day on the mountainside. I don't know if you're interested, but we're going to be doing a tour of some of the older quadrants. Just, to make sure there's nothing hiding there that shouldn't be."
Are you equipped for that? Like, have you got the manpower?
Oh, aye. Aye. We'll take what we need, and we'll know quite soon whether or not there's more than we can handle. But we should be alright. Maybe something's flowing in. Maybe something's dug its way out. You never can tell. But we'll go round the old confines of the old city, and then we'll come back here at the end of the day, and we'll still all be together. And he looks around and he shouts, "Who wants to do a tour of the marches then, eh?" And you can see a few of them just putting their heads down and eating. But an old silver-haired dwarf puts hand up. "Count me in, sir. I'll be with you. Are we heading off first light?" "Aye, we're heading off first light. Well done, Viet. We'll see you there, and get your brothers, eh?" "Aye, get my brothers. No problem." There we go. That's what we need. You're welcome to join us if you want. And he goes off to... I'll be leaving in first light. He turns over, and then that's him. He kind of gets himself buried in a conversation with somebody in some ale.
Well, they all seem keen to go down.
Do we need to be awake?
Are we going with them, or? What shall we do?
Not sure. I would very much like to get to the Sea of Dust and at least figure out what we're doing. But it doesn't sound like there's that many of them planning on going where they're going.
We're chance for local information as well. Probably talk with us as we go. Might learn something interesting.
Perhaps.
There were conversations that they seemed to, I don't know, not want to include us in. They were talking about, there was reference to, people were talking about observers and plight of the observers. And it seemed like they shouldn't have been mentioning it to us or didn't want to talk to us about it. Maybe we go down tomorrow, we help out. It's only the resounding silence from everyone when he asked for volunteers. We could ingratiate ourselves a little. Maybe get their secret.
Unknown observers on a mission like this. Better to find them out before they reveal themselves. No?
Oh yeah. I don't want to walk into any unpleasant things. I don't want to walk into any unpleasant secrets.
That's true. Perhaps it's the gnomes the dwarves who think they're observers, though.
And they spend the day helping with no problems after that.
Yeah.
Besides, fight in the morning. Good way to start the day.
Usually just start with breakfast.
That doesn't quite wake you up like a good fight.
Nice. I suppose we shall then.
Kylan, pass the whiskey.
Kylan hands over what is probably now about half to 2/3 empty bottle.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's got an edge to it that you figure will be very beneficial should you ever end up having to go out into the cold. So yeah, you continue to drink, and you hear a few stories, a few songs are sung, and the night is good. What a dwarven hospitality. Excellent and very much of the level that you would expect, and so you're able to pass the night. Could I get you all to make 2 rolls, please? Could I get you all just to make a straight charisma check, each and every one of you. Just
Great at those.
Yeah, click on to
no.
charisma.
Ouch.
How?
Aye,
You are jammy.
interesting.
Yeah.
Karsa, I mean, you could have done a lot worse, right? You're a kobold amongst a bunch of dwarves who spend their time trying to eradicate things that look a bit like you from their existence. Adri, you're a high elf, right?
Half elf.
Oh, you're a half elf. Sorry, Ildri's high elf.
Mm.
Yeah, that might be where the problem is there. Perhaps, who knows? But Adri, yeah, you do all right. Kylon, I mean, even you actually managed to, through your bravado and telling a few tales of exactly how you go about destroying things with your bare hands and this kind of general prowess, seem to probably get on best with the dwarves, and they take to you quite well. But you still sense they're holding back. Could I get anybody who is partaking in a lot of drink to give me a Constitution saving throw, please? Karsat, you're fine. Yeah. Kylon, you're fine. Not a problem. So you have a good night drinking strong ale, and it doesn't really impact you. You keep up. Maybe that's also part of Kylon's appeal. And maybe why they don't hate Karsat entirely, because the two of you are able to keep up with your drinking.
Karsat.
And finally, could I get you all, please, to make... Now, this is up to you. If you feel that you would be spending a lot of time discussing, everybody except for Ildri gets a chance at this role. If you feel like you would spend a lot of time in discussion with individuals trying to get details out of them, then give me a persuasion roll. If you think there's anything that you would quite like, everybody except for Ildri can do this. If you think there's anything that you might like to get out of the dwarves, and you know, once the drink's flowing and the time's going, yeah, okay. So Karsat, what have you been asking about?
About the dragons. Where they see them, how big and old they look. Generally, as much information about the dragon.
Okay, yeah. With a 16, they'll certainly tell you. The story goes that for as long as anybody who's alive can remember, there's always been the shadow of a dragon occasionally passing overhead. And so the dragon has passed over and seemingly uninterested in the comings and goings of the dwarfs. There's only been a few of these incidents recorded over the past living memory of the oldest dwarfs. But most recently, in the past 5 years or so, the sightings became more frequent. And still, the dragon seemed to keep itself to itself. But what has happened is that seems to be some change. And some of the people that you talk to, some of the dwarves that you talk to, claim that the drop in temperature has only really occurred at the same time as seeing this dragon just a little bit more frequently than they ever had. And they're sure it's the same one that's passed through time. It's a white dragon, and most recently it was seen battling a blue dragon. And the rumours are that the blue dragon has taken up residence somewhere in the edges of the Sea of Dust. So, and specifically, not that anybody's been to check, they think it's probably in the ancient city of Eldskara Narvoet, Eldskara's unpleasant foot. It seems to be a younger dragon, and it seems theories are that it's trying to push the white dragon out of its territory. But obviously the white dragon is a little bit less inclined to accept that. And so that is where the tussles that at least have been observed have happened. Around the area by scouts, by people who have been travelling back into Kiel and occasionally seeing this. So there's been rumours and stories.
Cool.
Okay. Adri, what have you been trying to sound out people about?
She'd be wanting to find out about the observers and plight of observers, but probably isn't, or probably aware enough that they didn't want to talk about it before. There's may not be enough alcohol in this bar to get a dwarf drunk enough to give her that information. So she's
You roll a 21, which is a pretty good effort. What you do get on that front is a story about dwarves who used to roam the mountainside near and from the outpost, and who would ascend the mountain to considerable heights, and from that point they would be able to view and see far and wide. But beyond that, they don't give you a huge amount of information. Just that there's some, and you're not sure, you can't quite tell if it's sort of mystical or if it's something else. But there's something high up Eldskara that further piques your interest. And you're right, the dwarves don't give too much, but they give you this kind of this history of those that used to walk from the outpost and go to the mountain, and they would have visions and they'd be able to see far into the lands beyond.
okay.
Yeah. And is there anything else that you would quiz them about?
Just any general information, hearsay, rumours, whatever they may have or know about the Sea of Dust, and that might help us.
You do hear a little bit about Eldskara and Narvaret, and it doesn't sound very pleasant. For one of the older dwarves that talks to you about it has basically said that it's an expanse of grey soot and black waters. The clear waters that melt off the hills form up with this diabolical black grit and form these murky pools. It's almost like ash in the sky crashing, a wave of ash crashing against the water and the mist of the water coming off. And the water of the mountains is soon sullied and turned dark. The streets themselves are overgrown with weeds and wild grass, such as is able to hang on to this. With the amount of water that comes off the mountains, it sustains a bit of life. But before you're even at the outskirts of Narvaret, all life is gone. The city just appears abandoned, and there's some rumour that people have seen traders down there and they've seen people down there, but there's nothing that you would consider to be, firm. It's all just hearsay, rumours. A lot of it sounds like drunken stories of dwarves. So yeah, there's definitely a good amount of tales told, and you're trying to just filter out some of the nonsense, and you get to this idea that the city below once was a fine city, but has long since fallen into abandonment. And certainly, if there is talk of a blue dragon setting up there, then that might change a few things. So yeah, that's your intel gathering while you're in the inn. Ildri.
Yes.
The dwarves seem to be not looking at you. They seem to not be paying attention to you. They seem to be actively avoiding. When you cast your eyes over the room and when you look to see, who Adri's talking to, you see them averting their gaze when they're looking at you. They don't seem to be. They almost seem to be more comfortable in Karsat's presence than yours, and I don't know. That kind of irks you a little bit. I would say. But a human walks up to you and sits down because she notices that you haven't, that you're kind of sitting at one point by yourself as Kylon's off telling stories of his latest battles, which we'll get to in a minute. What stories that Kylon's been telling? We need to know a little bit about that. But yeah, Ildri, you're sitting there and you're chatting to. You're chatting to a human, and it's the only human you've seen. She introduces herself as Madisa Heather. And she explains, once you're talking, that she was born in a small human village located in the outskirts of the Hell Furnaces. And her life changed dramatically because her parents, unsurprisingly, given the Hell Furnaces and the nature of that place, you're beginning to learn is pretty terrible, were killed. And so she was forced to fend for herself. And she learned to survive well, and she used her skills as a tracker and a hunter, and she eked out an existence in the rugged terrain of the Hell Furnaces. And it was during one of the expeditions that she stumbled upon the city at the foot of Elskara, and at this point she was taken in basically by the dwarves. This was some time ago. She's not maybe as young as she used to be. And over the years, she's become a valuable member of the community here in Stone Shield, and she helps the dwarves against the skills. But she recognises you as a bit of an outcast, and she takes a bit of pity on you. And she is an outsider, she explains, but she says, give it time, and they come round. Don't worry about it. They prefer.
Elves and dwarves are sometimes a little bit like oil and water, I think. But anyway. How long have you lived among the dwarves?
She thinks back and says, it's been more than 30 winters. Not that you can tell the difference up here.
Yeah. Feels like it's almost perpetual winter.
At the moment, I'm trying to get myself... There's something out there. There's something out there near. It's close. But every time I go looking for it, I can't find it. There's something ancient, and it's brought this freezing weather. The dwarves aren't interested. There's far too few. They wouldn't risk anything, but imagine what riches it must be lying upon. Imagine what that could do for... And she sort of looks wistfully.
Perhaps. It's not the dragons, is it? We were told about them.
Yes.
They tend to create some weirdness wherever they're around.
That's why it's close. It must be close. It must have got closer. It must be burrowing deep underground near here. For it to impact the temperatures around here, it must be close. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. And it's too fast when it's flying. We can't cover the ground quick enough to see where it goes into the mountainside. But I know it's near. And you can see this look in her eyes. She's set on this. She can see it's caught her.
Not generally something to be toying with dragons, despite what my small friend over there might say. She sort of indicates towards Cassette.
Yeah, Cassette's talking away to some dwarves who are smacking them over the head. I think I challenge you to an arm wrestle, Carsa.
Oh, excellent.
Bring it on.
Yeah. I don't know. Perhaps it's... You're not planning on going after it, are you?
Not myself. No. But with you and your team, I think the chances would be far more even. Don't you?
Perhaps. But... We have other business that we need to attend before chasing dragons, no matter how much we may wish to.
And as you say other business, there's a roar from the table over where Kylon is. Apparently, Kylon, you've been telling them a story about one of your previous exploits, and I think you've exaggerated it considerably. But the dwarves have taken to it, and they've really enjoyed the tale, and there's a huge cheer and uproar as you finish. What have you told them? What's been your bragged story? What have you endeared yourself to them with?
Oh, that would be after one of his many victories in the gladiator ring. The time that Karsat was mistaken for his mother-in-law by his competitor, and it was several drinks deep later in the bar that this happened when Karsat decided to join them. Kylan thought it was hilarious and refused to correct him. And to this day, he still believes that Karsat is Kylan's mother-in-law.
Excellent. And they look at you, and they're like, "Well, you're both blue at least, so that's something." Yeah. So there's a big uproar. There's a great story. Another story's told about another dwarf who used to get involved in lots of fighting. You hear from Gilead Lutger, and he was born and raised at the outpost and is the eldest dwarf there. And the stories that he tells have been great. He would love nothing more than to go down to the hell furnaces and stand watch over the terrible vents of heat and the pools of lava and the huge flumes of superheated water that would jet out from underground down there, and try and fight whatever would walk out of there. But he's fiercely loyal to his people even now, and he's determined to do whatever he can to protect them. But yeah, he, as you're speaking to him, he suggests that maybe he's looking for a change of pace, and he kind of falls back on a time where he left the outpost and he went off exploring, but he always found himself coming back to his home at Stone Shield, and here he is now. And it's always his love for his home and his people that brought Gilead back to Stone Shield. And each time he returned, he came back wiser, more experienced, and he was always welcomed back by the dwarves. And you recognise that camaraderie and you know what that's like among the warriors. And so despite his advanced age, he's a capable warrior and he's an invaluable member of the Stone Shield outpost. And the younger dwarfs look up to him. And as you spend some time in his company, you can see why. He does have some good stories to tell himself. So, yeah. So you make good use of your time, all. Yeah. So has anybody got anything else that they would like to pursue while they're doing this, or shall we let you guys fade into the morning?
Nothing else Adri would want to do.
Gosh, it's all good.
Okay.
I want to just keep drinking.
Let me fix that window. Nobody saw anything. And so the day, the night turns into morning, as best you can ever tell in this place, given how quiet it is. Outside, as you make your way toward the hall for breakfast, it's once again absolutely freezing cold. And with that absolute freezing coldness, you don't want to spend too much time out and about. You make your way into the hall, you get your breakfast, and you meet up with the dwarves. You can see that they're getting ready. There's a group forming, and they're getting ready to head out. Guardian comes up to you and says, "Well, what's it going to be? Are you up for a jaunt around the mountainside on this beautiful snowy day? Or have you somewhere else you'd rather be?"
We did say that. Oh, go on. We were saying last night that it would be good to get a better feel for the land, the kinds of things we might be up against as we venture further out.
Aye. Well, that makes sense. Even if you are heading down the hill, you've still got a long way to go until you're out in the mountains. So, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So you're ready, you've got all your gear, you've got all your kit. The first port takes you down the side of the hill a little bit. You get a sense at this point just exactly how vast this place is. As you walk around, you see multiple peaks that have got different buildings on top of them. And Guardian points up and says, "We don't go up there anymore. It takes too long. The whole place, the roof's down, the first floor's down. There's nothing much up there at all. We're not due to visit there today. And that one over there," and he points over to the left, "we're going there tomorrow. But for now, we're heading down into the valley a bit more." And yeah, so continues to travel through. And at this point, you come to a large arch leading down. And he says, "This is the outer part of where anybody lives now within Stone Shield. Beyond here, it's a bit wild. we'll get the gates open. And somebody runs ahead, and the big wooden gates that still kind of hang in their hinges open up, and before that you just see the mountain spread. You realise quite how high up you are here. You see a lot of mountain peaks, but even still Eldscara behind you is overshadowing you at all times. Just in the back of your head you see this vast mountain. Right, he says, down into the next bit of valley we go. We've got some buildings down there. You walk down and sure enough there's a close set of buildings all together. Be on your guard. The last time we were down here, we had a little bit of trouble. We managed to find ourselves up against, well, I'd say it was probably some sort of tiger, but we tend not to ask too many questions. First we kill it, and afterwards, if it's good, we eat it. We're not really known for our studies of biology up here. But be careful.
Was it a good challenge at least?
Aye. It was huge. Bigger than all of us put together, and you hear a kind of murmuring, aye, big. Its back was as high as that door over there.
Pylon smiles and just kind of adjusts the hilt of his warhammer and battle axe on his back.
And does seem unusually large for a tiger.
You never know what's happening here on the edges of these hills, and that cursed hell furnaces to our south. All manner of beast breeds here and finds its way here. We used to keep these hillsides clean and clear. We used to be able to walk freely here, and you're trudging through the snow. There even was a point where the furnaces ran so hot that the snow would melt on these streets. Imagine that, eh? Even in the middle of winter, we'd be able to walk on stone. Aye, well, our dreams stay with us, even if the reality is very different. You walked on and walked through a rather abandoned looking building. Aye. This place used to be a family home. There used to be children running. There used to be all manner of nobles coming and going. And now look at it. We can't even afford to shut the doors. Well, this is part of the problem with Stone Shield. Occasionally we come down, but let's go and have a look. And he leads you up the stairs and then through an arch at the side of the hill at the top. And it's dark inside. I don't think that worries any of you though, does it?
Probably not.
I think you've all got dark vision.
I see.
You have now. You look in, and the rooms are kept well, and there's stairs leading off. You check up there and make sure there's no bats. We'll go down here and make sure there's not burrowed its way in. And you walk down the stairs and come to one of the balconies, and you look out back through the stone and the caves where you've come. In the background, You hear a screech. Guardian looks up. Well, that's not good. That's not what I was expecting in here. Maybe big rats or a wolf or something, but not that. He looks at you. You're welcome to stand here and be eaten.
What is it?
And you see him just do this with his arms as he flaps his arms. It's in the sky. It's big, it's white, it's cold, and it's very fucking angry. Come on, let's not give it a target. And he salts backwards from the balcony.
Yes, that's probably wise.
Yeah.
But it sounds like such a fun challenge.
He looks at you. There's a reason why we're still here on the side of this mountain. It doesn't bother us, and we don't bother it. If any of that balance changes, I suspect it will be us who are no longer on the side of the mountain.
Handled things similarly before.
Aye? Aye. Well, the Gladiator Arena isn't exactly the same thing as what happens out here.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the arena. That's just the side gig, shall we say. The entertainment between the real action.
Corset starts shoving Kyle on, going, "No fighting the dragon, come on, go, go, go."
You continue your sweep of the building. There's a few spiders. Some of them are a little bit bigger than maybe, they should be, but nothing particularly terrible. And as you walk out and back down the stairs, the clouds above you light up. Guardian doesn't notice. Kylon, you do. The rest of you do. Guardian's got his head down, he's just walking. And the other brothers and the other members of your party are walking similarly with their heads down, just getting in and back under the cave, back under and into the rocks where they're safe.
Look up.
What?
Ildry just sort of points towards the sky.
And you do that and you see another, just the whole round of the sky is just shimmering and sparking and glowing. It's diffuse light, but it's very bright. And Guardian looks up. Oh, that. I have no fucking idea what that is. Let's move. And he kind of walks very hurriedly across the open expanse of snow and back under and into the tunnels. And you stand there looking up.
Ildry walks, goes to follow him, but she's mostly paying attention to what's going on skyward.
Yeah, roll perception. Whoa.
Nice.
That's a nat 20. Okay. Yeah, you are You take a little bit more time than the others to get back. And as you look up, just in one of the brightest flashes, you see a hint of wing blue cutting through a cloud just in a break as it whishes over, and you see a large blue wing just stretching out, and then you see the lightning that emanates from a very large and very scary, dangerous, frightening looking beast in the sky. Could you please make a roll, and could that roll please be, if my internet connection speeds up just a bit to get to the page. Yeah. Could you please make a wisdom saving throw? $19, yeah. So you look at this, and there's a shiver of primal fear that just juts down through your spine, and with your professionalism and with your experience, you shake it off. Not too easily, but you shake it off. And yeah, you're of no doubt that you've seen up in the sky above you a blue dragon.
Well, we don't want to stick around here for too long with whatever's going on up there.
Is it here?
Well, I think there's both of them there. They don't seem to be in very much of a chatty mood.
Oh, that's... Probably shouldn't be between them.
No.
Maybe not both at once. One at a time, though.
Not killing the dragon. Of course, it started pushing Kylan towards the big away.
Yeah, back into the safety of the place of Stone Shield, back into the stony tunnels between the areas of buildings that are built into the rocks. You feel comfortable knowing that the sky isn't above you. Until you walk out once again into another building area, and you see they look a bit more like farms potentially. You see areas of covered tunnels that are open to the air, but shielded, and there's small amounts of crops growing, very weak and not like expansive, but there's stuff growing in an artificial environment. And Guardian just notes and looks and says, "Well, this here, this is part of the." This is part of our enterprise and our ability to try to keep everything on the go. Our ability to, well, I think you sampled some of Tordred's output, yes? She's very capable. Bruce brewer, and she does what she can with meagre existence like this that we can scrape together on the side of the hill. A little bit of magic, a little bit of engineering, and a little bit of luck. It's amazing what you can grow, even in the worst circumstances, if you know what you're growing and when you're growing. Anyway, it's not enough to keep us, but at least it's still here, and at least it's still safe. And you walk out again from the background.
How do the crops look?
Pretty crappy. Certainly, there's nothing. They're all covered up. They're all, there's all various little rudimentary frames around them. There's dung to try and keep the temperature up. They're dug into the ground. They're dug in back into the rocks away from that, but they can still get light. And there's, it looks all very heavily engineered and very fragile. And yeah, but it works, and it's part of what they're able to do to keep themselves in existence on the mountainside. Before you're able to walk out again to the next set of buildings that you're due to expose, the sky in front of you lights up, and without any shadow of a doubt, between the pillars, you see the silhouette of a very, very large and very ancient looking beast. Gardain immediately falls to the ground and ducks into one of the tunnels that has the crops in, trampling some of the plants in the process. Fuck! Shit! You hear him swear, "Get down! Don't let it see you!" And it swoops past, quite low, through, and you see it just pass in front of you, through the archways, and then it disappears. Can I get you all, please, to make a saving throw? A wisdom saving throw as you see this beast. Kylon, Karsat, seeing this thing so close, even though you're undercover, and even though it didn't see you, unless you've got something that makes you immune to it, you are officially frightened of it. Just for that split second as it swoops in. You feel something you've not felt before in a long time, Kylon. You're actually scared. You don't want to walk forward. You don't want to face this thing. You don't want to walk towards it. Karsat, you've talked so much about dragons. And yet, seeing one, maybe you suddenly realise what Adri was talking about, what Ildri has told you about, that maybe, oh, you've got advantage.
Yep, sorry, I just saw that.
Yeah. There you go. And it passes. The feeling passes so quick. The feeling passes so fast. It's a fleeting moment, and you shake it off and go, "No, this is dragon. This is dragon." And you realise that you're not frightened. The rest of you hunker down for a short while, and Kylon, you do quite a good job, I imagine, of masking your fear. Is that fair?
Probably for those who wouldn't know him, but
So Adri, Ildri, Karsat, you notice as you get ready to walk forward, you see hesitancy in Kylon, and ever so slightly. I mean, he walks forward. He can't see the thing anymore, so he's not scared of it. But that remnant of fear is still in it, and you notice that. Whether you comment on it in front of the dwarves or not is up to you.
Just pat him on the back as I go by, but since I'm less than half his height, I don't reach very high up as I go past.
Guardian's looking up.
Just shoots a look to Adri.
Yeah, dwarves are clearly all shaken. When they walk forward hesitantly to the edge of the arches and look up at the sky. Guardian looks round at them. Come on, we're going up the stairs here. We'll go check this building. And there's a bit of a hesitant. The pause lasts for about 10 seconds or so. You see the dwarves just kind of looking at each other, just going like that, and then they decide that they're over it, and they walk up the stairs, and they march into the building and check. Again, these buildings are all empty. They're clear, and the roof is smashed through at one point. There's a hole in the floor at one point that leads down and it opens up into the side of the mountain. You can see it just dropping away. We sometimes dispose of things down here. It disappears very far down. I recommend that you don't fall unless you can fly. You look over the edge and you just see its sheer cliff drop and then into mist and fog. And so you search around this building and again, there's nothing of note. There's nothing here. It's all been cleared out. The buildings are all just ramshackled and they're on their last legs. And as you walk out of that building and head to the steps, you hear a giant crack and a rumble and the sound of stone scraping. The ground shakes just for a second. Gardain looks, he says, "Shit, come on, let's go," and he just breaks into a run back under cover.
I guess that's the other one.
And he shouts, "Rock slide! Don't be in the open!" As he runs down the stairs.
You follow?
Yep.
Let's go.
Oh, we should.
Yeah.
And then in the distance, after the rumbling is over, you hear a bell. Ding, ding, distant. Ding, 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 ding. Guardian's like, "Oh no. We have to get back to the inhabited part of the outpost. We have to move now. There's trouble."
Do you know the fastest way?
Through here. Let's go. He leads you up some stone-cut stairs, an unlit passageway. Let's move. The bell continues, and as you continue to make your way through, it's quite a ways. You've been walking for some time. Other bells are ringing, and you walk out of a particular part of the tunnel, take a left, and then through the snow for a bit, down between some houses. You're still keeping up a pace and running up through the snow, and it is so cold to be outside for this long. You seem to be gaining some altitude as you're starting to draw breath against your exertion. The dwarves continue on and up. They take another right and they cut through another part of the mountain, past some halls. And they enter into a building that you think looks familiar. And he says, "Shit," as he stares ahead and points as you walk out through the cave and out. And you can just see that initially it looks like nothing really has changed, but you know that there's part of the mountain that doesn't have any stone on it. It doesn't have any snow on it. And as you look beyond and to the side of the building, you see a huge amount of rubble and stone. He says, "That whole side of the mountain has come down. Look." And he points and you walk round and you can just see the edge of a building poking out of it. Oh no, this is not good at all. And as you're looking up at the huge rent from the side of the mountain, you see a vast ball of blue and white rolling around towards you as two vast creatures up in the sky and sliding against the mountainside roar into your view. These things twisting and turning against each other, lightning flashing out. Barrages of ice and snow crashing across the mountains, skiting down, bringing more stone with it. Two ancient beasts locked in combat. One of them breaks free, flies down, lands right in front of you on top of the building. And it roars. It isn't looking at you, it's looking up at the hillside where the white dragon is just staring at it. It launches up, slams into a dive, wings tucked behind it. The blue dragon jumps up at the last moment. The white dragon smashes into the building and totals it. The blue dragon whips up and around and out of your view. The white dragon dusts itself off, shakes its head, launches off and chases after it.
Is it always this eventful?
Gardain looks at you, shakes his head and says, "This could very well be the beginning of the end. Let's get back, come on." And looking out and up, he threads his way through and past some of the rubble, across and into the other side of the mountain and up into what you hope, at least, is safety. For now, anyway. I think I need a drink after that.
Is that Croy or Gardain needing a drink?
Gardain walks off. The DM reaches for his glass of whiskey. You make your way to follow, and just as you do, the light in the sky above you lights up once more. A blue streak crashes down, falling backwards. It smashes backwards into the building. That was unintentional. Let me do that. There we go. The beast slams back with its wings outstretched, its talons looking completely broken as the blue dragon, seemingly ejected from the cloud above, comes back into view and slams into the building that just to the left of the one that Garden was walking towards. And then you hear a roar as the white dragon, talons outstretched, reaches down, stretches through, flying down with its talons towards the blue dragon. This time it can't get out, and the talons screech with the roar of the dragon into the chest of the blue dragon. The blue dragon tries to wriggle and writhe. It seems to get some strength back. I'd like you all to make a dexterity saving throw, please, as it manages to dislodge a huge part of the building and send it generally flying in your area.
Oops.
Ah, crap.
Kylon, Ildri, you dodge out the way. Karsat, Adri, you take 13 points of bludgeoning damage as bits of rubble and stone erupt and slam towards you and catch you. Your armor blunts most of it, but you still take a bit of...
Can I uncanny dodge it? Use my reaction to...
Sure.
Of course, halving it.
This is one of the things invasions help before, is it?
Big save, so yeah.
I should... What are you getting from... yeah, you should be able to use that if it's something you can use in as a reaction. Yeah, it's an effect, and it makes you Dex saving throw. So you take half damage, so you only take 6 points of damage with evasion. Okay, so yeah, it could have been worse. The blue dragon manages to sink its way into the top of the building, and in doing so, the grip of the white dragon is loosened. You can see it's damaged. It turns around and tries to fire lightning, and the whole air just crackles alive as the white dragon is subject to a torrent of lightning rippling across its body. Unfortunately, it also hits into the building opposite and damages it. But in doing so, the white dragon loosens its grip enough. The blue dragon disappears, slides off, and just rolls into a flight. It looks like it's going to smash into the ground, but in the last minute it lets its wings go and it slides and flies down through the rocks and through the valley. The white dragon, however, sits on top of the building and roars. It hops over to the side where the dwarves are, and its head is turned over down the valley where it is, and it lets off a huge cone of frozen ice, rock splinters and cold. Snow just freezes and disappears as this blast of frozen air ejects from its mouth and down and into the valley below. And for the first time, it seems to see you all. And it turns round, furious that its prey got away, and looks at you all. I'd like you all, please, to roll initiative. As this...
Guess there's no hiding now.
Very old and very angry and slightly hurt ancient beast is definitely keen to pick up some frustration.
I forgot to select my token.
I'll add you.
As did I.
I remembered for like the first time in New Year.
Can I get advantage on initiatives? I rolled on that one first time, so it doesn't cost me too much.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get advantage as well, actually.
Yep.
I don't actually know how to roll with advantage on initiative and roll 20, so I misrolled it twice and
That,
picking one.
roll twice and we'll sort the highest, but you got the highest. Yeah, okay, good. And I will roll for Gardain.
Holy shit, this is the first time Andrea's rolled higher initiative than Raven.
Possibly.
My god, what happened?
Aaron doesn't like the cold.
Ice on feathers aren't fun.
She's also possibly feeling put out when Adri sort of like tumbled. Erin was sat on her shoulder at the time, so disgruntled squawk.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so atop this building, you see just the size of this dragon, and it's okay. Gardain rolled an 8. Is everybody else on the table? Descend.
I'm not.
Okay, let me add you. Audrey. What did you get?
11.
11. Right, I'll get all the dwarves to go on Gardain's time. The bell's ringing. Yeah. So that would be a good point for a break before we kick this off with Karsat at the top of the round. Right. There is a dragon in front of you. A very large, very cold, very big, ancient, and pissed off beast, which is sitting atop the very building that you were looking probably to go in, not so much now, as bits of stone crumble down between its talons. Dwarves are milling, the bells are still ringing. The snow is falling. It's almost like I should burst into song at this point. Karsat, what'd you do?
Karsat will hold up his hands and just go, no fighting, peace, peace. No need to fight, no need to fight.
Okay, so it sounds like you're trying to be persuasive with your action.
Yep.
So anything short of a god tier roll at this point is going to see you completely ignored. So very high, very, very high difficulty, but not impossible.
Yeah.
And that's
I've
just not,
got like 6 abilities let me reroll persuasion checks, so let's see how this goes.
that's just to not be ignored. So yeah, that gets you ignored.
Okay, hold on, I've got a thing.
That's you shouting in the wind.
Where is it? It lets me reroll persuasion checks because I've got dragon things.
Okay. You tap into the mighty presence of dragons. Once this feature turns a failure into success, you can't use it again. Okay. Hey! It's the same roll!
I can use a sorcery point to reroll something. Can I use that?
Jesus Christ.
Hey! You rolled a nat 20! There's the roll we were looking for.
God fucking damn it.
Oh my goodness. The first.
I wanted to hit a dragon.
Okay. You are not ignored. Both. Something about your presence. Both the dwarves stop. They were arming their crossbows. There was people still moving. The folk that are further away don't hear you, and they're still moving. But the folk closest to you, the dwarves closest to you, and everybody else, like there's this second, this moment of serenity and calm. Even the wind seems to stop blowing. What is it that you say?
Not here to fight. Not helping the other one. Passing through. Don't want fights.
Okay. Okay, we will take that into account come the turn. Which isn't in the turn order. Okay. Is that all you do?
I'm just standing in front of everyone, like hands red, no weapons on me,
Okay.
being very as non-threatening as I can, and desperately wishing I didn't look quite so blue.
All right. Wow. Let me see where our friend appears. Right at the bottom of the turn order. Okay, so Adri, you hear this highly animated Karsat who somehow manages to make his voice echo around the valley and it seemingly goes into all ears. What do you do?
this isn't a fight she wants to be happening. So, hoping that Karsat has actually persuaded the white dragon to just go on its way, leave it alone, not get into a big nasty fight. She is going to hold her action for Eldritch Blast. Just if it doesn't pay attention to him and it makes a move to attack, she's holding her action to let 3 blasts of Eldritch Blast at it. Assuming it's within 300 feet.
Yeah. Okay. And I take it Erin stays put.
Yeah.
Kylon, you are surprised at the force of Karsat. You maybe, yeah. What's your intention?
Changes things dramatically. He's just going to kind of try and slide off to the side. Moving closer to it without seeming to move closer to it. If that makes sense. If he can.
You're sort of sidling your way into the underneath of it.
Yeah. How close is it out of interest?
So it's probably about 20 meters. Yeah. 30 or 40 meters to the base, and then it's probably about 40 meters up, so 60 meters straight in front of you, like that's the triangle. I'm not doing Pythagoras at this time of night. Let's just say that number. That sounds about right.
Okay. He'll just kind of have a hand on the weapons in his back and just kind of be ready in case Karsat's attempt doesn't succeed.
Do you want to do a stealth roll then? If you're gonna kind of try and sidle into some sort of behind the rock space or something. Do you want to try and get hidden?
Sure.
Okay.
Terrible.
Okay. So you sort of head off to one side and get under some of the rocks towards the foot. The stairs up to that building are on the other side, so you kind of hide under, and you lose sight of the dragon, but you can still hear it breathing. And the occasional rock fall as its claws shift slightly on the building it's clamped onto. Ildre.
I think Ildre is going to hold her action. If that thing moves to attack, then I would like to cast Fire Shield, but the warm version that gives you resistance to cold damage.
Okay.
Depending on how negotiation tactics go.
Okay. Gardain and the dwarves, he puts his hand down. He says, "Don't fire! And he shouts up, Long have we lived in peace in these mountains. We wish not to change that. And he attempts to try to add on to the somehow more persuasive screamings of the blue cold. But yeah, he is going to attempt. I'm just going to roll straight. At least I would be. Let's try that again. I'll probably get 2 rolls in a minute when roll 20 catches up. Okay, I'm going to roll a d20. At this point, I'm going to get my own dice, I think. I'm not getting any rolls for the NPCs. Internet, how do we hate you? Let's do it. Come on, roll 20, d20 plus 1. There we go. I think roll 20 might be having one actually. It's rolling the dice for the past 30 seconds. Right, at this point I'm reaching for something. Hang on. I shall get real dice out, because for whatever reason roll 20 is not one to play ball. I will take a d20. And I'll roll a 16 plus 1, so 17. Okay, fine. So Gardain attempts to placate this beast, and is noted that he rolls a 17. Okay. It's probably a good job we're not in combat if the dice rolls are going to take that long on roll 20. The dragon's turn, as the dwarfs also hold their action with their crossbows ready. Okay. The dragon lowers its vast neck, its claws firmly attached onto the top of the building. And it lowers itself down and says, "Let me get a closer look at you," kind of rumbles and hops as best it can, releases its talons off the top of the building, and it jumps down onto the stone closer to where Karsat is. It's fucking massive. This thing just fills up so much of your vision. Its tail slides down in the snow and just falls off and seems to stretch down the side of the cliff. Its claws are easily the size of a dwarf. This thing is just vast. It hops even closer to Karsat. Stretches out its long neck. You see its spines down its neck. You see the intricacy of its scales. The limited light between the clouds. Even still, it manages to shine. You have never been this close to something like this before. And it looks at you, Karsat. And it looks and says, "You're blue. Just like it." Your turn. This giant head about 10 foot away from you.
Right. Gosh, I'll keep his hands straight and just go, yes, same colour, but wise enough not to fight you, not to trouble you. You rule mountains here. We're the sea. Are we going to the south, aren't we?
Yeah, you're heading. Yeah, you're heading off the mountain to the south and to the west.
Right. We're heading through the pass, away from Sea of Dust, just passing through. No disrespect, don't want to fight, you're far too powerful for us to a big ass dragon.
Yes, I am. It stretches up and you see the full extent of its height. It must be 60 foot from its front feet and talon up to the top of its head as it stretches back. And then it leans back down. South, you say? Adri.
Currently standing next to Karsat still, yes?
Mm-hmm.
In case he tries... I'm saying he. At this point, I'm meaning the White Dragon. In case White Dragon makes any attempt to eat or otherwise attack Karsat, Adri's going to make sure she is, staying within 5 feet of him and is holding her action to cast Dimension Door, should it look like Karsat is about to be scoffed or injured.
Uh-huh.
That'll be her.
Okay. All right. Aaron still at your side. Kylon, you are to the side of this dragon and slightly behind it because you moved away from the group. It doesn't seem to have noticed you.
So Kylan's just going to hold Mind Sliver. If it does anything to attack anyone. And remain hidden. Well, as hidden as he can be.
Yeah. Do you want to roll again to get a better position?
Yeah, why not?
Go on. Whether it'll show up on my screen or not, I don't know. But
27 if not.
okay. Nice. Yeah, so you sort of sidle around the other side of the rock. Find a small there we go. Roll20's working again. Drop down a little bit off the main walkway and duck down into the snow.
Yeah. Will be us.
Okay. Ildry.
Ildry sort of turns to look up at it. Or is looking up at it. And she's going to hold her action. Whoa. Probably some, and to cast Flaming Sphere if it makes a move to attack.
Now remember, when you hold, if you hold action on spells, have spell slot, then you do lose that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's fine.
Okay. At this point, I am gonna re-roll a couple of dwarves. I want to see if they can hold it together sufficiently. Surprisingly, 1, 2. Nope, that's 1 away. Wow, they're holding the line. Okay, 2. 1, 2, 1 more. 3. Okay, so half of the dwarves that are there take a back step at this thing. And yeah, you're now left with 3 dwarves. So there we go. Next to Gardain, who also stays. Right. Okay. Good. Right. The dragon brings its head right down onto the snow. And even when it does that, it's still taller than all of you. Like, the head is just bigger than every one of you. And it slides its head right up to Karsat. And you can smell this breath of decay and cold coming off it. It's most unpleasant. It's right up in your grill. And it says to you very quietly, "Kill the blue dragon, and you all live." And then it turns its head to one side, and it puts its head down over the edge of the cliff, and it hauls itself just ever so slightly and lets gravity slide it down, and it plummets down. You see its tail just whipping round past you, the snow plume up as it sledges itself down off the edge of the cliff, down between and into the ravine below. And as you watch it clearing the immediate confines of the stone and back out into the air, its wings flood open and it sails off into the cloud and the snow.
Would Adri have heard it, the dragon, say that?
Yes, you all heard that. I mean,
Do the
it
gnomes
wasn't-
of the dwarf had it?
the dwarves heard it.
Dwarves.
Yeah.
They said in common then, yeah.
Yes.
Well, damn.
I mean, we didn't have to fight it. This is good.
Aye, but it's gonna kill us and wipe us off the side of the mountain unless we deal with its other problem. Animals. They're not stupid, and they're certainly not weak. Oh my god, we've got to go down to that fucking city.
Well then.
Yeah, we won't kill a dragon, I suppose.
Carter's just hanging his head. Like he's having a slight crisis.
I suspect that this blue dragon wouldn't behave the way you would want your blue dragon to behave, Karsat.
What if it's kin of the Azure? And then if I kill their kin? No, not.
Maybe they don't like each other.
Families are complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Guardian looks at you, Karsat. You're not seriously suggesting that you prefer to take on that thing, are you?
I don't want to fight either. Killing the blue might have further consequences. But I don't want to fight either.
I wonder where the blue one came from.
And yeah, so when you say that, you're kind of minded back to the discussion that you had about Elskar and Narvet. The crappy foot of the Elskara mountain with the huntress. And you've got a general sense that it's somewhere down there. It's somewhere in the city that you know you're going to have to go through anyway. And talking to Medusa, you reckon that her skills might come in useful. And she did say she wanted to hunt a dragon.
I think it was more though, Ildri was like this thing's come in and obviously upset this white one's sort of deal, like they're fighting over territory, like where it came from before that, like whether or not it had been displaced by whatever bullshittery's happening down south where we were headed.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, when you say you kind of voice that and Guardian looks at you, says, well, no doubt there's something happening in the Sea of Dust. Who knows what it's escaped from to have to come and sit at the bottom of Elskara, but aye, you might be onto something there. But even still, that old bugger wants us out of here. And he looks at you, Karsat. You reckon you could persuade the blue dragon to give up whatever lair it's made for itself down there, do you? You reckon you could just get it to bugger off? Leave old white alone?
I think it might be worth it though. Always full back.
I'll tell you what, we'll bring our axes as well, just in case, eh?
Might be needed. Carsa just looks more and more sad as the conversation progresses.
Well, we've got some preparation to do. We'll leave at noon. Aye?
Yes.
Sounds fair.
And you just hear Guardian more fucking dragons under his breath as he walks away. And so you're left with it for a moment by yourself.
This has been an eventful start to things.
Imagine how dull it would have been if we said actually we just wanted to say our farewells and wander off.
We probably would have been eaten by dragons.
Depending on how quick it is, that might have still have been uneventful.
Yes. You okay, Casa?
Not really. We might have to kill Blue. Better for everyone if fighting stops, but
Seem like we have an option, Karsat. One of them has to die.
neither should.
Well, it's their fight. And now we're involved.
Mm-hmm.
We do this to ourselves a lot.
Get involved in other people's fights.
Mm.
Kind of the point of us.
This is true.
We get paid for it. We should probably start moving. Dan told us.
Yeah. Indoors does definitely feel like a good option. And I could do with taking a rest. Especially if we're going to be heading down into the city.
That sounds good. I'll see if I can cook us something tasty.
I should go and speak to the tracker. See if she knows who would be willing to come with us.
Track something that flies.
I don't know. But she did seem rather keen to fight a dragon, so...
She's got her chance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just say, for sake of argument, that you head back toward the tavern as a place inside, and it's quiet and there's nobody else around, and you've got a booth to yourselves. The comings and goings you hear outside, muffled by the snow that begins to fall, but the warmth inside the inn is welcome. You get some food, you get some drink, and you take yourself a short rest. If you're going to seek anybody out, then you could ask for assistance with that. You see, occasional dwarf going past, and you could ask somebody if they would help you find someone. If you were looking for anybody in particular you want to speak to, and they'd come and find you. You check your packs and your provisions, and make sure that you've got everything that you think you might need, given that you're not really sure of what the journey forward entails. And so it is after a fashion that you see the huntress Meditha come find you. The snow heavy outside as she walks in. So, she rubs her hands. It seems like we have our opportunity of sorts. I'd prefer to have hunted the white, but seeing the size of it and its nature, perhaps blue would be a better option.
Yes. This is not something that we want to do.
Why? Hunting a beast of this stature? Ah, yes. What an accomplishment. What an honour. What a story to tell, a song to sing, poems to write. And what a trophy to hang upon the wall.
It's still death.
All that lives will die.
And it will. But it does not mean we have to enjoy causing it.
But the challenge. The skill.
Just wonders off hearing about the challenge of hitting a blue.
The honour as well, now that we have struck a deal with an ancient beast that could probably in one day destroy everything around us. and leave us cowering in the holes that we've long since abandoned. Well, first, before we are able to get down, we must travel through the old tunnels. These have not been opened for some time. The last that were ever to come up were traders heading to Kiel, and they didn't come back. They stayed on the warm side of the mountains. The passageway that the dwarves built is sound. At least the last time 4 years ago I was down there, it was fine. But there are many beasts of the mountains that would find some of the other guard posts there quite a home. I think even getting down and out of the tunnel alive itself would be a story worth telling.
I do quite like the sound of that. Fight to get to the fight, and then fight to end it.
There's
Very
not
good
much
challenge.
Yes. Well, we never know. We might be unlucky. And she smiles. Well, I have to say that we have had to see off some fairly sizable threats to Stone Shield in the past, but nothing of this magnitude. I've survived on my skills as a tracker and a hunter. I've been able to traverse the mountains and stay below the observers. That's fine. And I never found the dragon, and it found us, so now we find ourselves on the hunt. How delightful. Well, I'll come and find you when we're ready to go. Do you have everything you need?
I think we are suitably provisioned. Nodri kind of like looks around at everybody.
Alan just pats the hilts of his warhammer and battle axe sticking up over his shoulder.
Excellent, excellent. Gardain will be ready to leave in not much time at all. Finish up here, come meet with us outside. We'll go to the top of the tunnels. They are quite spectacular. The dwarves know how to build things, I'll say that for them. And she walks through the door. A blast of cold air comes through and whips around your ankles as it does. Door slams shut. And so it is. You make your way outside. Unless you've got any other business. Yep.
Before we do go outside, Adri will get out her warlock book thing, turn to the page with names written on it, and write a message to their handler, whose name escapes me at the moment. And she's going to write, "Outpost needs help. Going to kill Blue Dragon. Any advice?" And that will act as casting sending to the handler, who will have heard that, as though Adri has sent it. Her response will appear written in the book.
Yes. I am looking. Yes, the handler who has teapots. Where is she?
She's in Nildra, or she was.
Euphemia. Euphemia under bow. There you go. There she is.
Yay.
And back in the book, she says, you see the writing appear. Blue dragon, exclamation mark. Don't let it eat you, exclamation mark.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. And do you head on from that point?
Yep, that's Adri done.
Okay. And so it is that hopefully you find yourself standing atop a vast looking cavern. Unless of course you happen to be chat, in which case you're just looking at a white page. Let me fix that. There we go. That's better. Yeah, you look down this archway. You're led variously through tunnels and down into this spot. You feel like you're quite lower down. And Gardain explains to you that this is the entranceway down to the gate that's shut. That's used for that used to be used for traveling and trade with the city a long time ago. Carts used to come up from the side of the mountain. This tunnel delves down through the foot of Elskara and out into the sea of dust below, and into the old city, Elskara Narvoit. And this tunnel was built by the dwarves and sealed at the dwarven end, but never sealed at the bottom. Only ever sealed at the top. And he looks at you and shrugs and says, anything could be living there, coming up from the sea of dust. All we know is that it hasn't come up this far. Look, he points down at the giant gates. There's no holes in it. Good dwarven engineering. Right then. Shall we? He points down. The snow's kind of covered this. Looks like a sledging run. But you can see that there's stairs down either side at the far edge. This was some sort of run for carts to come up, a ramp for carts to come up. And he walks over to the side and begins to drop down. And the other dwarves that are with you follow. We've got a dragon to kill. How could possibly go wrong? And as he descends off into the darkness, you see a torch being kindled. And the light leads off down to the gate. And that's where we'll leave it for tonight.